On episode 22 of the Holochronicles podcast, we'll talk about our usual topics. Show me your collection, a little mailbag, we've got an Easter egg for you, and some Star Wars trivia. And finally, we're going to discuss the footage that came out of D23 from The Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker. We can't wait. The Force is strong with this podcast. Pass on what you're about to learn.
Welcome to another episode of the Holochronicles podcast, episode 22. Josh.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited about this one.
I'm pretty excited, too. It's been a fun weekend.
For Star Wars news, it's been good.
Yeah,
it's been good.
Finally. It's been really good.
How have you been?
I've been good.
Yeah.
How about you?
I've been really good. Listeners to the Holochronicles podcast, please don't forget to follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. We are always on every major platform for podcasts. You can find us iTunes, Google Play, like I said, all the major ones. Spotify. At Holochronicles. Oh, Spotify.
Yeah. No, we are. We're on Spotify. Sweet. Can you believe it?
I didn't know that.
No, it's real, man. It's real.
Big time. Big time. All right, Josh, we've got a few things to go through here today before I know we're both excited to talk about the new video footage for The Mandalorian and episode 9, but let's take care of a little business first.
You bet.
Show me your collection.
It's my favorite kind of business, though. I like this.
It's great. Love this. Show me your collection. Hashtag show me your collection is something we do every Saturday where we try to feature a follower's collection, big or small, no matter what they're into when it comes to the Star Wars universe. We like seeing what other people are into, and so we've started this, and it's been pretty fun.
It's been a ton of fun.
We actually have two to mention here from the last two Saturdays. Pete Fletzer, whose podcast
friend Pete,
you might recall being on not too long ago.
What happened?
We were there.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, remember one guest, 1 hour. All
Star Wars.
Well, we went two guests,
2 hours.
2 hours.
All Star Wars.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. So to follow up the podcast with him, he sent us a few pictures of his collection. Now, his collection consisted of the Power of the Force carded figures. But was really cool about these was that when he worked for the magazine, Star Wars Galaxy magazine, he was able to go to some of the early cons and get some autographs that are pretty desirable these days.
Sure.
And so on like his Lando Calrissian Power of the Force carded figure, he got Billy D. Williams autograph. He got David Prost. He got Kenny Baker. He got Jeremy Bullock. He got Peter Mayhew. He got Darth Maul, Ray Park. And then he had. Do
you think Ray Park has officially changed his name to Darth Maul?
No.
I think I would have legally.
No, because he was Snake Eyes too, and he's been some other things.
Was he, or is he just Darth Maul?
He's best known. I think he's best known.
Oh, and we got a little side bit on that. Are we going to see Ray Park again? Geez, we didn't even put that in. Keep going. Sorry, I can't digress.
You're hooking me.
Sorry.
But then he also had 3 kind of the lesser known autographs, which were pretty cool. Admiral Mahdi.
My favorite. I love these.
He's a guy that gets not choked out, doesn't die, but when their very first meeting together on the Death Star, your faith in that old religion doesn't scare me, Vader. And then he does a quick little choke like, really?
One of the best acting jobs. Oh, just wonderful.
Yeah, he had the sideways.
Oh, just lock it up.
So
Admiral Mahdi. Who knew what the Force did back then?
I mean,
he just found out.
Not Mahdi. He just found out a little taste. Ula, the Twi'lek dancer for
Ula.
Jabba the Hutt.
fun fact, pause Ula at the right time and you get some Ulas.
You get to see your flowers. Okay. And then also something that you guys have in common is that you guys both have an Uncle Owen autograph.
Oh.
Is his name Phil? I think his name's Phil.
Yeah, it's Phil something. I can't read his last name, but we should have looked that up, done a little better research. But I just stare at him. He's right. He's off to my right. He's the father of the Blue Milk Brigade.
Yes, he is.
He is.
He brought it up.
Look, he's not going to let you go to town, but he is going to provide you
with some blue milk. That's nice. So Pete's autographed, carded Power of the Force figures was his collection that he shared with us. So thank you, Pete.
Which is fun. It's seeing another fellow podcaster who's got his own collection kind of secreted away and then sharing it out. A little personal.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
And some of them were personalized. Some of the autographs were to Pete.
Well, we had a discussion about that on his pod. Like, do you personalize or do you not?
And Josh, you said?
I said, if you're there in person, you personalize. Like if you're there, if you did the work, if you showed up in line, I think you owe it to the actor or whatever.
Pays it off a little bit.
Just like, hey, look, I respect you enough that I'm not trying to get this from you to sell it. But if you buy it off off an auction or anything online, then obviously you probably don't want it personalized unless you happen to find someone with your own name. But
right. Josh, did you want something personalized to Dave?
I don't. I have a very select few names that I'll accept in my personalized autographs.
Joshua, Yeshua.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. The other Show Me Your Collection.
By the way, thanks, Pete.
From last Saturday, his name Ryan, and his handle is at Bull Skywalker, Bull Skywalker. And he collects vintage figures as well as Power of the Force figures. And what I appreciated very much two things from what he sent pictures of. Excuse me. First is that he set his figures up in scenes. So
I always love that.
There's a Jabba scene.
I love the effort.
So, and then there's a Empire Strikes Back Hoth scene. And so I appreciate that. I know you do too, Josh. Just the time it takes to not only put them up for display, but kind of have a rhythm to it, a little bit of a pattern to follow.
It slows you down when you're looking at the collection too. If you have kind of a roll call where it's just a line of figures, which is also awesome. I kind of like that too. Like I'm torn, but when it's a scene, you slow down and you look at the effort put into it. We've had a few scenes given to us through Show Me Your Collection and hashtag. And I like, it just takes effort, it takes thought. It takes space, and you got to slow down and really make it happen. So.
Right. The other thing is that he shared that some pictures of original figures that he had from his childhood. They're not just things that he's acquired over time, like to set up a collection, but they were actually some from when he was a kid. And like for me, I still have one Star Wars thing from when I was a kid. It was a TIE Interceptor. And it's not in great shape. I played with my toys hard. I don't think I have any of my, well, I do. I have some original G.I. Joes that I had when I was a kid, but like the thumbs are busted, the crotch is busted.
No, I mean, they were made to be played with, and that's why I love that about you. You've told that story before, like, hey, there's some stuff that was kept and saved for me from your childhood. I didn't have that. My stuff was played with until it was
broken,
destroyed.
Yeah.
Yep. And thrown away, kind of like, oh, I'm done with that toy. There was no thought of collecting back then. It was just on to the next toy, right?
Yeah, it's just on to the next thing as you grow older. But Ryan still had some things from when he was a kid.
Which is awesome.
And he was, condition aside, he wasn't going to get rid of them.
Sure.
Because they have a place of sentimentality to him that makes them more valuable than putting them on eBay.
You bet. And as a collector, that's a feather in your cap.
Well, thank you, Pete, and thank you, Ryan, for sharing. And remember, if you have any sort of Star Wars collection, please DM us a few pictures of what you got, and we would love to put them up on an upcoming Saturday and feature what you have and give us a little bio of what you got and how you got it. We good, Josh?
We're all good, man. Thank you for your collections.
Incoming transmission!
All right. Cracks you up, I know, and it makes me laugh
Makes
too.
you laugh that I laugh every time.
Yeah, so we got a question, actually just today, it worked out perfect, from at Darth Rio, R-I-O, Darth Rio. And
A new follower and a new listener to the pod. Thank you.
yeah, shout out to that guy.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Oh man, I just lost the question. Okay. He says, hello guys, I just discovered the show and love it. Thank you very much. I have a collector's question. I just began collecting vintage figures and was wondering if bootleg figures is an issue to look out for. Some of the deals I see look too good to be true. Thanks. And so, Josh, I asked for a little bit more clarification on
Yeah, like what he was finding or what the prices were.
Yeah. I asked, I said, where are you finding these, quote, deals? And are they advertising straight out as bootlegs, or you're not sure if they're bootlegs? Because there's a big difference.
And let's define bootleg. I mean, with vintage figures, it could mean, some reproduction additions or maybe some touch-up paint or, which wouldn't technically be a bootleg, but probably misrepresented for the price, right?
Yeah. So he says, I see figures starting out at 99 cents and they look perfect and they sell for around $4 or $5 each. That would be a tip off that they're not original figures.
Right.
Because if they look perfect, and especially if they have accessories,
you could be looking at the retro line out of package.
Yeah, they're from
Is it
Target.
Leia or Chewbacca or Luke?
So he goes on to say, while some start for far higher for the same character, they don't look anywhere as good. I'm currently collecting the figures that I had when I was a kid. So if they're bootlegs or repainted figures, I'm okay with that. I'm never going to resell them. They're just for me, and I'd like to have a bit of my childhood back. There it is. So there's a couple of ways you can go about this, Darth Rio, and others out there who maybe wondered the same thing, or especially if you're just starting to collect. First of all, if you don't care if they're repros, you just want to get, some Star Wars stuff, and
Sure.
and you're actually looking for maybe a less expensive way to go about it, go for it.
And we talked about this a little bit on our last pod with reproduction graphics or decals. It's like if you don't, we have a few of those items in our collection that we don't care. It's like that finishes my set. It looks fantastic. That's all I want.
Right.
When somebody walks in, or they're like, "Hey, is that 100% authentic?" If they ask you that, then maybe they're jerks.
Yeah,
but
maybe they wouldn't be in our house if that's.
Or maybe they're trying to buy some of your stuff, which you're not selling. Anyway.
Talking you down.
Yeah.
We take a little harder stance on reproduction, like capes and accessories.
Yeah, weapons.
Just because they are so, they're very hard to tell at times apart from the originals, and you can very easily sell them at original prices when they are much, much less.
Right.
In actuality. And so me personally, like a repro gun, I just throw them away. I don't want
them in the system. That's the deal.
Yeah. I just throw them away. I don't even offer the possibility when I'm selling stuff to, hey, I've got reproduction accessories. Are you interested? No, I don't even do that. I don't go that route. I don't want to. It just seems like I'm adding confusion
to the confusion.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, but on the other hand, Josh, if you are looking for an inexpensive way to get a, first 12 in accessories, and you're not out to try and sell them, like Darth Rio says, he just wants a little bit of his childhood back, and he wants, if he can get a last 12 with bootleg figures that look like the originals in reproduction accessories, you could probably do that for under $50.
Right.
And then you've got a little set. Now, it's not original, but if you don't care and you're not out to try and resell it as originals, awesome. You've just gone the inexpensive route, and for some people that's what matters. They just want to have it. They don't care if it's original or if it's in mint condition, or they just want it because it reminds them. It reminds them. So I'm cool with that. If you go in with that expectation, like you don't care, and if you want to pay $4 for Farm Boy Luke,
with the nipple.
I mean, it might be, it might not be a 1-to-1 exact replica.
And by that, I mean the lightsaber we call the little
right
thing on the nipple. Now, I'll kind of, let me add to that really quick and maybe just kind of, when I hear I want a bit of my childhood back, and this is just me, so it tears at me a little bit to think that I would get anything reproduction or bootleg or whatever you want to call it. So, to your point, if that's the direction you want to go, fine. The only issue I have with that is the problem you have is that you might be buying into a group of people that are selling to guys like Vader that maybe think they're getting the real deal for a great price. And so it gets a little convoluted over there. I would be more like, hey, I'll take a beat up figure that looks like it's been around for a while. If I know, and which is how we started, which is fun. That was part of our first collecting experiences together were really driven on, I have these guys. I found the same guys somewhere else. They're a little better. So we do swaps, like $10 swaps is what we called it. Like, I'll swap you out, $10. Boom. Then we'd add the guy.
I don't even think they were $10. I think they were $5.
Yeah, exactly. $5. So we'd add the guy that we swapped out back to the pool. That guy'd go back out for $5 or $10 more. And so there was never a loss. It was always just an upgrade. So my advice would be, if you want to go the route and just kind of get the guys that look like the guys, great. But if you're really trying to capture your childhood, then slow down. Sometimes you get what you pay for. Obviously, we don't want to pay too much. But sometimes if, one of his question was, I see guys for 99 cents and then I see guys for $10 and they're beat up. Your authenticity is probably in the guys that got a little bit of wear on them. But you should be able to ask questions of any seller.
Right.
And get an honest answer. And so I think that's probably your next point. But you should be able to say, hey, are these original? Or are these, and if the reproduction's great and if you want to buy them, great. But you should get an honest answer out of anyone selling. If they don't give you an honest answer, if they're evasive or they don't reply, move on.
Then that deal is too good to be true.
It is too good to be true.
Move on.
Yeah.
Move, as we like to say, move along on this show.
Move along.
So to your point, Josh, so that's if you don't care if it's a bootleg or if it's a reproduction. If you don't care, fine. Then do everybody else the favor that,
I know you're trying to play both sides here, but I almost want to go back to the point of, I want them out of the system. I want to be able to buy the guys that are real. There's enough of them out there. There's like 40 million of these figures, so.
Right. So there were a couple of things I wanted to say. I have the only reproduction things I have in my collection are decals.
Right.
And that's only if necessary.
Which we're touching on again, but that was the last pod.
Right.
So,
Right. So I'll skip along to that.
Right.
I do have 2 Stormtrooper capes that are reproduction. But I just want them because I had a lot of Hoth Stormtroopers capeless. And
which I have pretty much all capeless Hoth troopers.
And you can get the repro capes for pretty cheap, like 3 for $9, whatever.
What do they call that? Squad or platoon building or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is fun. You could buy
you
could buy a bunch of stormtroopers, and we've seen amazing pictures online on Twitter on fantastic like lineups of stormtroopers, and that's the goal, right? You can never have too many stormtroopers, right?
Yeah. And so the reproduction capes that I have, on the inside of them with a Sharpie, I put a big letter R. So no one's going to be confused if I should suddenly have a heart attack and my wife sells all my, heaven forbid, she sells all my stuff.
Oh, immediately.
To
me.
To Josh.
Right after the funeral.
Thank you for waiting. That whoever gets it is going to know that these are obviously not original. So I made that note to myself and for whomever might ever look at these things,
sure,
that this is not an original accessory. I put a big letter R on there so that even if they thought it was original, I just decreased the value,
right?
By Sharpieing it. So I did that as a way to protect myself and others from being mistaken intentionally or accidentally. So do that. If it's replica, identify it as such. If it's a bootleg figure, put a B on the bottom of the foot or something, or mark it, so that it's clear. Now, if you do care on what you're getting and you want it to be original, just like Josh said, just like you said, ask questions. Mm-hmm. You're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to ask many questions. Okay. But you get talking to somebody that sounds like they know what they're talking about. That's just really a good liar. You need to do a little bit of homework on your own. The internet's awesome. There's a lot of resources out there. The Imperial Gunnery is where I go to whenever I have a question on a weapon.
And that's imperialgunnery.com, right?
Yes.
There you go.
That's a go-to place for me. If I'm not sure if the weapon that I'm looking at or a weapon that I got is original, just look it up. Become wise. You can do that. The internet's a great place for that. And generally, original is going to cost more. So if your budget is $4 or $5, then maybe the bootleg items is where you're going to go. But if you want to wait a little longer, put a couple more bucks aside and then get that original, then do that.
And we
be patient.
Yeah. And we ran a little test, and the other side of it is you might have a higher perceived value of what these figures are worth too. We've come across it a lot at garage sales, at Offer Me Ups, at, especially at Craigslist, the local people. Sometimes some people know about Star Wars. They know about the figures, but they really don't have an idea of their value. So they find a box in the attic and they think they hit the jackpot.
Right.
They're like, oh,
$1,000.
$1,000 for what really is maybe $100, $200 worth of stuff. But they're thinking that each one of these old figures from the 70s are worth, $100 a piece. So there's a good balance there. We did a little test before the pod as we were talking about this question. We're just kind of looking at, we're in my room where my collection is. And we looked at a group of, 6 bounty hunters there with Boba and they all have weapons. And I'm like, hey, so what would you say? And they're all loose. They're not in packaging, but they're in pretty good condition. And for all 6 of the bounty hunters, Dengar, IG-88, Boba, Bosk, and the 2 Forloms, right?
Yeah, Forlom and
what was the other guy? He's a Forlom too, right? He's like Zuckus, but also a Forlom. But yeah, so those guys, you might look at that, especially with Boba in the mix with his weapon in clean shape, and might go, "Oh man, that's a $300 set right there." But really, once we valued them out, we were talking about about $120.
Yeah.
Depending now, if they're in a graded case with that all changes.
Condition
right?
always matters.
If they're in a package, that all changes. But really, just be careful. You got perceived value versus your perceived value versus actual value, and all that stuff.
So hopefully we answered your question, Darth Rio.
We probably just confused you, but I just want to say, and the last thing is that all that being said, just make sure as a collector you're a steward for the community. And so Andy's made some great points by marking his repro stuff and kind of identifying it. Just be honest. I guess that's it. There's a lot of dishonesty out there. And you've even found, Andy, you've found dishonesty that you've identified. You maybe got even taken by it a little bit and then you didn't pass it on. And same here. So you just be good to the community and make sure that you offer up the honesty when you're trading and vice versa.
I think that is well said there, Josh. I guess
thank you.
We'll move on to the next thing.
Move along.
Easter eggs.
Okay, Josh, this one's a fun one because you and I are both music lovers. This did get posted on Twitter today, this morning. This is Monday. Pod hopefully comes out soon. Monday morning, Jon Bon Jovi got his first credited song on a Star Wars Christmas album, Christmas in the Stars. And that song was titled R2, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. And it's what's really funny about that is they have, Anthony Daniels voices C-3PO. There's, the beeps for R2-D2 or R2-D2s. It's a Star Wars.
All authentic.
Yeah, it's a Star Wars album, Christmas in the Stars.
Crosby.
But yeah, it says vocals. on the back, you flip it over to the back, it says, drums, violins, all the instruments. And then it gets to the vocals. It says Jon Bon Jovi.
It says Jon Bongiovi or whatever.
It's how you actually spell his last name, which is one word.
Phonetically, it's Genovi or whatever.
Yeah. It's all one word, BongiOvi.
Right.
Bongiovi. Bongiovi is what it looks like. But then, once he got into a bigger band, he just went.
You got to
Bon
be metal,
Jovi.
bro. Like Bon Jovi.
Yeah, totally metal, man. It's my life.
Oh wow, so hard.
Of all the songs, that's the one I
nice
refer. But yeah, Jon Bon Jovi, Star Wars Connection. There's your
pretty
Easter
cool,
egg.
man.
That album,
I like that poll.
That album, by the way, is not easy to find. I don't think it was super popular. I've seen it go anywhere from $30 to $120.
Weird.
Yeah. And so like people have purchased, like not just like posted, but like purchased for those prices. So
there's nothing like an R2D2 beep out of your phonograph machine
on 33 1/3 speed. Yeah, great Easter egg for Jon Bon Jovi
I like
fans.
that. Now we did throw up some funness and we had some responses. One of which is funny. I love responding as myself to a Holochronicles post, which is you.
For the most part.
Look, we're getting a little inside here. All right. So when Josh posts on a Holochronicles post, don't think that Andy and I aren't texting right behind it underneath it. But we weren't on that one. That was funny because you said,
hey, post your Jon Bon Jovi Star Wars crossover
and yours
titles. Was Blaze of Guri. So
now I gotta be honest, help me. Deep cut, you said.
It is a deep cut. Guri is a character from Shadows of the Empire.
Okay.
Okay. So
you learn something every day, folks.
Yeah. So if you're not up to
I went with Slippery When Fett.
That
I gotta be honest.
Excellent
I was really
job.
happy. And then we had A Bed of Rose. That was a good one.
Bed of Roses with an apostrophe.
Well, but just Rose from
there was some pretty funny ones in there. And I'll be honest, I thought way too long about that.
Yeah.
I thought way too long about that and put about 6 down.
I also I didn't put it up, but I was gonna go You Give Love a Bad Back to Tank. Okay. Or wait, no, Bad Back to Tank. That's what I was going. Not You. Dang, I screwed that up. But I was just going to go with Bad Back to Tank, like bad medicine. But I just walked all over that. So my bad. How about? Yeah, that's all I got.
I think I put down You Give Love a Padme.
Okay, I like that one a lot. Okay. I can't believe you didn't throw it up there.
I did. I put it up there.
Oh, well, then I didn't read it.
No,
you should have tagged me, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
The guy that responded. The only guy that responded to you. To Holochronicles post.
Hey, we had like 3 guys respond. Okay.
There was one more. It was I had another.
A Bays of Glory.
Wanted Fed or Alive or something like that. Yeah. A Bays of Glory is really good. I like that.
Thank you. Again, you should read my posts.
Boy, couldn't get any work done.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm a teacher. I have to go back to work now.
He's got to go back to work. Welcome to the real world. To the real world.
Back to the real world,
buddy. Mm-hmm. All right, where are we at here?
Well, I just want to remind everybody that is within earshot to share with your friends what Josh and I are trying to do here. And we're trying to educate collectors, would-be collectors, share stories with old collectors. And you can find us at Holochronicles on Twitter, at Holochronicles on Instagram and Facebook, at Holochronicles on YouTube. And we're on all of the major podcast formats. Please check us out. Please share with a friend. And thank you for doing those things. We're building up our followership every day, it seems like. We've kind of gotten a bump recently. Yeah. And we're on a nice little roll here. And make sure you give us a review and rate us. I mean, that's okay. Tell us, hey, if you don't like something, let us know. You know, just as a reminder, we're just average dudes, Star Wars dudes born in the 70s that are just using our everyday street knowledge to help you guys out. And some of you guys have been around since we have, and some are just starting, which I love from our if there's anything we can do to help, let us know. Talk with us, share with us your stories, and your questions as well. And we'll try and answer them. If it's not on the podcast, we'll just answer them outright. Straight up. on Twitter or wherever we happen to cross paths with you. We made some pretty good friends out of this. It's been
Great friends.
It's been fun. I can't wait. I can't wait for Star Wars Celebration Anaheim.
It's going to be like a reunion with family you've never seen in person before.
Yeah, it's like, I know that voice.
Who's that?
Who is it? That
From across the way?
Yeah. But
From section 408? Yeah.
so anyway, Josh, I think, don't you have some trivia for us now?
I do. Are we doing trivia now?
It's trivia time.
We do a little thing. We haven't done this for a few pods, but we like to put our knowledge to the test via some cards.
Some Star Wars trivia cards.
Star Wars Trivial Pursuit box circa 1997.
Okay, so we're not going to get any prequel.
We'll get a little, maybe one prequel? Is that
97?
No.
In
no
97?
prequel.
No.
Nothing.
So this is all original trilogy trivia
Okay.
with some
No sequel.
with some possible legends.
Some legends
books.
in there.
Yeah.
So we like to try ourselves at a card. We have not prepped each other nor looked. Sometimes we crash and burn on this pretty hard.
That's a
And
possibility.
we're going to leave you guys. We're going to leave a little pause in between our questions so you can answer out loud in your car, at your cubicle, or hopefully on a beach somewhere where you listen to the Holochronicles podcast.
Yeah, don't forget to
lucky
listen to us when you're at a beach.
That's right. Hold on, honey.
Hang on. Josh is about to read a trivia card. 1 second.
Woo! Put down that Mai Tai and answer this question. All right, Andy, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Who asked Luke if he'd consider changing his mind about landing on Dagobah?
R2-D2.
Great job. That was a good one. My initial thought was the split up, and I thought Han asked him that about going to Dagobah, but I reread it. Okay. Second question, who were the first non-Imperials shown piloting a Scout Walker, a.k.a. Chicken Walker, a.k.a. ATST?
That would be Chewbacca and an Ewok.
You're mostly right. Same thing I thought, but it's just straight up Ewoks. They took it over first. Remember that?
And then Chewie jumped in.
Okay.
All right.
So that's okay. So
Fair.
I'll give you a half a point on that
Fair.
one. So 1.5
Fair.
points out of 2. Nice work. All right. Here we go. What was the seemingly relaxed Leia doing when Luke opened the door of her prison cell? This is a loaded question. No, I'm
What,
very sultry, remember? Just laying there in a little white silk gown.
the door swings open. And I would say that she is feigning like she's sleeping.
It does say sleeping, so I'm going to give you that point. But
Okay.
I think feigning, as you got blaster fire going on and, a little short to be a stormtrooper. Yeah. So,
Love
okay.
that line.
All right. Fifth question. We're just reading a full card per person here. What planet should you travel to if you want to plug a few womp rats? I like that. I haven't read that one yet. If you want to plug a few wow.
I used to bullseye womp rats back home in my T16. They're not much more than 2 meters.
Wow. Oh, nice pull. What planet, though?
That would be on
Smarty.
Tatooine.
Yeah, pretty easy one there.
Thank you.
Who tipped
I
Chewbacca?
should have said the line in the voice. I'm sorry, fans. I know you're
going to be whiner?
I know you're clamoring for more impressions.
Give it to me.
No.
All right, next time. Move along.
Move along.
Move along.
Thank you.
Move along.
Thank you. Who tipped Chewbacca off to an advancing stormtrooper squad in Cloud City? Who tipped off Chewbacca? You might say that he had his back.
That would be C-3PO.
There it is.
In a mess, in a bag, behind him. Because he was behind him.
That's right. All right, last question on this card.
Okay.
What year saw the U.S. theatrical release of Return of the Jedi?
1983.
Correct. So I think you got
5.5 out of 6.
5.5 out of 6. Maybe 5. I might give you a half point for that Chewbacca one. I give you a clue. You're going to have to give me a lot of clues. So that's pretty good. I'll give you 5.5 out of 6. Nice work.
I'll take it.
All right. Hope you're playing along at home.
Because now I'm going to read a
now
card.
the dummy's up. Here we go.
I'm going to read a card to Josh. Let me.
Oh, what are you doing there?
I'm switching the cards.
Oh, too easy?
Some really hard ones.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
It's like, I read 3 and I didn't know. Okay. Who said, wars make not one great?
Wow. I'll go ahead and pause.
Thank you.
That would be Grandmaster Yoda,
Correct.
or just Yoda at the time.
Did you like my impersonation? I don't think I do a real good Yoda.
You did fine.
Okay.
Don't feel bad about yourself.
All
You can
right.
go to bed feeling good tonight.
Appreciate it. Who gave the order to lock S-foils in attack position during the second Death Star battle?
Oh, second?
Mm-hmm.
Second.
Lock S-foils in attack position.
It's got to be just like a red leader. Gold leader? No, red leader. Gold's Y-Wings.
What was the name?
Is that Wedge? Biggs?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I got Wedge. Yes. Ooh, that was a tough one for me. Woof.
It was, but it wasn't as tough as you thought it was.
Thank you.
Nice job. Good pull. What duo knelt to welcome the Emperor to the second Death Star? What duo knelt to welcome the Emperor to the second
It's
Death
tough
Star?
because it was Vader, but I don't know the Admiral or whatever they call him.
Yeah.
It's Vader, and we're going to say Admiral Fancy Pants.
Well, I'm going to give you a half a point
Thank you.
because you got Vader right.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was Moff Jerjerrod.
Oh, not Admiral. He'd be pissed if I called him that. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Jajarod?
Jerjerrod.
Jargerald.
Jargerald.
Jajarald.
Jargerald? Jargerald Depardieu.
Oh, Neil.
Okay. You got a
Half point.
You got
Half point.
for that.
I'm with you.
What part of the second Death Star did Rebel starfighters attempt to knock out?
The reactor core attempt, they succeeded, but they were going to knock out the reactor core.
Yes, you are correct, Josh.
Thank you. Why didn't you just say yes when I said that?
Well, you paused.
Oh, I didn't pause long enough. I see. I wasn't sure. I was going to second guess myself. I was going to.
And I didn't want you to. So
All right. Thank you. I didn't pause.
All right. Who had a droid in charge of his labor pool? This was tough. First of all, who would have a labor pool? And then who would put a droid in charge of it?
Uncle Owen.
That is incorrect.
Damn it. He's got a labor pool, though. A bunch of.
That would be Jabba the Hutt. That was
Crap,
tough.
I lost you.
That was tough.
I lost by
you
a
got
point.
one more. You got one more.
Oh, I did? Well, I still lost. Oh, did you get one wrong? Well, technically you did with that whole Ewok bull crap. But keep going. All right, last one.
What was C-3PO's 3-word response when startled by Jabba's door scanner? You know when that thing pops out?
Goodness gracious me. Goodness gracious me.
Goodness gracious me. Those are the 3 words. Correct,
Boom.
Josh. Nice job. Nice pull.
Boom. All right.
That
well,
has been
that is you. Thanks for joining us.
Star Wars Trivia with Josh and Andy.
Pew, pew. All right. Well, sorry.
All right. R2's a little excited here, and that's because he knows that we know a little more information about the video footage released this weekend for the Mandalorian trailer and the Rise of Skywalker.
We got to be careful here. These are both long topics if we don't just go through them. I think there's.
What do you want to talk about, Josh?
Let's talk about the Mandalorian, which is interesting because of the Rise of Skywalker footage. We're not calling it a trailer. We're calling it what?
Released footage.
Sure. And then we'll talk about that.
Teaser,
Teaser footage was released today. It's all the buzz on Monday. So it kind of overshadowed, was that Friday's release of the Mandalorian footage? But I want to talk about the Mandalorian.
Okay,
so
let's do it.
Cut through that really quick.
First impression for me, it looks like it's filmed in a gritty manner like Rogue One.
Yep. I think they took a lot of pages from the Rogue One book, which I'm super stoked about. When I originally saw Rogue One, I called it, and now this is a little dated, but I called it like the modern warfare of Star Wars. It was very gritty, down on the ground. There was definite, death and action going on the whole time, which you really, in Star Wars, yeah, you see a stormtrooper get hit and smoking out of it, but not a lot of just plain gritty footage, you know, gritty stuff. Even the tank and, you know, in Rogue One in the streets was very like Afghanistan-y, Iraqi, you know, it was gritty.
It was a war movie.
Right.
Okay.
War movie is a great description.
They wanted you to feel like this was, and this has been mentioned, but the footage couldn't have brought the point home any harder, that this is a gunslinging, wild, wild west atmosphere. Who knows, you know, you walk into a bar, there's going to be a bar fight.
Right.
You know, you walk into the
Cantina, by the way. Sorry.
My bad.
Just calling you out.
But just the one, like, Mandalorian fires that rope out of his, you know, like
that's my favorite part,
like the boba rope, you know, in Return of the Jedi. He fires a rope out and loops around a guy by the feet,
lassos him,
and then he like unholsters his blaster, shoots the door panel, and the door shuts, and he yanks him in as it doesn't actually show it, but it appears to just like bisect him.
Right.
Awesome. Totally awesome.
Super gritty footage, super dark with the speeder bike coming in sideways.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy looked rough, looked very punk, looked very, you know, bad guyish.
Also, one thing you mentioned too is like non-John Williams.
No Star Wars music going on there. That distinguishable Star Wars music. I have to go back and, because I'm, you know, like everyone, visually enjoying the experience, and then audibly you kind of have to focus. I didn't hear any.
It was dark. No, there was. At least
the undertones are probably there, but it was not Star Wars directly.
It was dark and ominous.
You know, it was very kind of digital. It was cool.
Very cool. Very cool. And then just for the view, I got corrected on this a couple times on Twitter, but it wasn't IG-88, Josh. It was IG-11.
Duh.
Yeah, my bad. But it looked an awful lot like IG-88, and he's throwing
behind the back
blaster shots behind the back, and you know, dual blasters going in every direction. Looked pretty cool.
Who confirmed IG-11? Was that what they put online or something?
It's I don't know.
Be smarter, man. I need more time for the internet.
Yeah. Don't we all, Josh?
Stop sleeping.
Don't we all? All I can tell you is that my excitement level for Mandalorian is equal to episode 9.
Agreed.
It is equal. It is.
Mine could be
right
even
there.
more, because we know it's not going beyond, because I think we're going to get them all at once, right? So
no, actually,
it really is
Favreau,
that not Netflix-esque.
It's not confirmed, but Favreau has said, and I'm quoting third hand here, that he would prefer it to come out
Game of Thrones
week
style.
by week.
Well, why not? Why not bring more people to the platform instead of a binge watch that then
Comes and goes.
Then they're like, well, I'm done. I'm not going to pay for next month.
Right. That's one of the problems with Netflix.
Right.
When things drop, there's a news cycle of it for about 2 or 3 days if it's a hit.
Right.
And then it goes away, because all of there's anything to talk about for next week. It's like, here's 12 episodes of a show, and then all the talking heads, news outlets, whatever, bloggers, podcasts, they talk about the whole thing getting dropped, and then it's the next show comes out. Or
I don't think there's anything wrong with a little anticipation. Plus, for formats like us, we got something to talk about each week. We got something to look forward to.
Keeps you in the news. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Other than, you know, half of me is like, yeah, give it to me all, and then I'll be done for a couple days. You won't hear from me or see. You know, take me 12 hours. And
side note, Josh, the last season of Clone Wars comes out in February.
Okay,
just so you know.
Thank you. Great.
You've got until February to catch up.
Even more guilty about. Well, I'm waiting for Plus to drop so I can finish all that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go buy it.
Anything else you want to say about Mandalorian?
No, nothing in particular, but
one thing that I was surprised about, I kind of got the impression that the Mandalorian would, for the most part, be on a planet.
Oh, I loved all the different landscapes.
And it looked like it was on many planets.
We had some trees. Woohoo!
We had trees.
It wasn't a sand planet.
Yeah. Like
we had lakes.
We had lakes.
It looked like they were in Montana.
They did. Montana's a good pull there. Good
System.
pull, Josh.
The Montana system. I like the kind of the dirty Twi'lek with a little wink on the way out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A knowing wink. Wink.
This is going to be...
You know what I mean? Huh?
It's going to be
Wink,
fantastic.
wink.
And
Nudge,
I love
nudge.
that they maintained the mysticism of the Mandalorian by no
Giving them
lines.
no lines.
No lines.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was my best Mandalorian. Impressions by Josh and Andy. All right. So great.
Thank you.
Good on the Mandalorian. Excellent teaser for me. I'm in. I'm all the way in. Can't stop me from watching that and paying for Disney Plus.
Nope. Gonna
Try
do it.
me.
Gonna do it. All right. The teaser.
Man. So today, Monday.
This morning.
Yeah. Monday the 26th.
They dropped some footage because, Star Wars fans will take anything at this point, leading up to December. The footage begins giving a shot or a moment for all of the characters as you go through A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, Force Awakens, Last Jedi. And I loved that they did it in the order in which the movies came out.
They did.
Because
sorta. They kind of flipped back and forth a couple times, but really the
they gave everybody a face shot, that's been important to the storyline. Some a few, but as we went through the story, as the viewer would have seen them, even the oldest viewer, fans of Star Wars, they would have seen it in that order. New fans, this is the order in which they all came out in, and it wasn't chronological. It was what would you
episodical.
Episodical. Yeah,
That's a word.
So it is now, and I appreciated that because that is consistent as to what they've been saying from the moment The Rise of Skywalker was the next movie, that this is going to connect all of the movies together. It's going to end the saga. It's going to have something in it for all of the fans. Okay. This is the end of the thing that started in 1977. And so that lead up to it, it was like, did Topher Grace make this, his Star Wars Forever?
Yeah.
It kind of had that feel at the beginning of it, but they started with like a Yoda theme in the music. The musical themes changed as the movies went along, and like, that's awesome.
For me,
the musical part of it could have been its own thing.
That's what I'm saying. For me, that part alone now is, and we'll get to that part, the Rise of Skywalker new footage, masterful. I have to say that watching that intro with the twin sons from Tatooine at the beginning, Luke, the first image of Luke we ever got, well, not the first, but close. It just made me love Star Wars so much because you saw these magical moments, and they're all choreographed perfectly with, like you said, that perfect score. Han looking like after he's touching the wall with Greedo and looking everything. It almost made those moments different than they were in the movie because of the connection to, like you said, the lineage of this entire franchise, which despite its faults or its wrong paths is still exactly what you just saw in that. I loved it. That alone to me was like, thank you. Whoever did that, I don't know whose direction it was under. I don't know if Abrams was a part of that or not.
It was 100% deliberate to bring in,
but thank you,
all of the fans.
And there's a lot of complaints out there that we left Star Wars behind and we Disneyed it out our own direction. But that right there was like, thank you. Thanks for going back and recognizing, even with the prequels and even that was romantic. Everything was great. To me, a perfect beginning. Now, what happens after that, I have no idea about, but I'm very... Now, this is the hopeful. Hope. I'm very hopeful of if that's their mentality, if that's their direction, if that's their thrust of like, this is what we're going to do, then thank God, because, or thank the force,
The
whatever.
maker.
Sure.
The maker.
There you go.
Thank the maker.
So go ahead.
Of course, C-3PO's maker was Anakin, so we'll thank Anakin.
Thank Vader.
I'm going to try and skip through these as quickly as we can because I know we're approaching our...
We're doing good. We got 10 minutes to bust this out, buddy.
Okay, let's see.
Go.
Let's
Ready?
see,
Now
see how bad we can
Here
miss.
we go with the Andyisms. Go.
Okay, scenes in the new footage. You get 4 shots of physical touch with hands.
Yep.
Okay, there's the Last Jedi, Rey and Kylo fingers touching from across the galaxy.
Right.
Calm down, Raylos.
Easy.
Calm down.
No, it makes me anxious, to be honest. Doesn't matter. I'm with them.
Then there was Rey and Leia, like touching hands. They're
Yep.
like grabbing hands.
Yep.
Then there was Han and Kylo. The last scene.
Touching his face.
Yeah, Han touching Ben's face as he's about to fall over a railless catwalk.
Mm-hmm. Again, OSHA. Very
you.
bad in that galaxy.
Very, very bad. And then there was Rey and Finn, where Rey reaches down and Finn grabs her arm and lifts him up.
Yep.
Pulls him up from the ground. So there's hands touching, right? Significant moments where touch is involved. You know, sentimental, some a little more significant than others, but
Bonds, I would call those.
bonds, connections. Yes. And 3 of the 4 involved Rey. So
Yeah.
if
Okay.
you're keeping track at home.
Gotcha.
All right, moving on. Chewie, Poe, Finn, and Rey walk up to a community that looks like they're celebrating something.
Very colorful in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, I watched a reaction video.
They found some gypsies.
The blind waves, and one of the guys goes, "Look, it's Bonnaroo." So,
Burning Man.
yeah, it made me laugh. Shout out to those guys; they're funny. What it kind of reminded me of a little bit is that scene in The Matrix where they come into Zion and there's that rave.
Don't say that.
That was my first reaction. I'm just
Don't
telling
say
you
that.
my first
Don't say
reaction.
that.
That was weird.
It
but
was weird.
that was my first reaction. Like, oh, hey, they're walking into a party. Okay. A new place. Then we get this might have been my favorite part. There's a bunch of ships, right? You see a bunch of Imperial Star Destroyers, like 100 of them.
A bunch.
There's all there.
Never seen that many Star Destroyers in one place ever in the Star Wars universe.
And Josh, go ahead and make the point.
Well, and it's been made, but I saw this before I read Twitter, but they're old Star Destroyers. These have the round deflector shield generators on top.
These are the original trilogy.
Now, someone pointed out, I saw that they have like undermounted cannons, which maybe, but I don't know if that's a visual or not, but those to me, those can spark, I don't know if you want to go on a tangent here because you're just hitting these points, but to me that could spark kind of a ghost fleet or
Ghost Protocol.
something. I don't know, man.
Palpatine's contingency plan.
Right.
That's getting some buzz for sure. But you also get the original trilogy Rebel ships.
Right. Coming out of hyperspace
just
in atmosphere.
And there's
That takes some major calculations, by the way.
there's Poe's X-Wing that have the split circle engines, like were the original concept idea for the X-Wings. Right. And then there was original trilogy X-Wings where they have the whole engine on each of the 4 wings. There were Y-Wings.
Hey, they're pulling all the
B-wings.
They're getting the mothballed fleets out, man.
The Millennium Falcon was there.
What?
There was a blockade runner. I mean, those are all original trilogy ships there.
By the way, that scene, one of my favorite.
Yes.
I love when they zip in. Whop, 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 whop. That's my favorite. That Star Wars invented that. Probably Star Trek. Never say that word again. But to me, that's a whole concept I just love. Like wham, wham, wham. They just explode out of hyperspace.
And they just show up. Like,
love it.
Here they are.
In formation.
Rogue One had a really cool scene with that too.
Sure did.
But all of these original trilogy ships on the Empire side and on the Rebellion side. Now, I don't want to speculate that everything is just a vision that we're getting thrown back to old stuff.
You're jumping the gun here because you're getting ready for the vision talk, but yeah.
Yeah, but it just like
I don't see that as vision. I just said it. They're pulling out the mothballed fleets in order to combat each other. And we got the whole Palpatine question. Yep. Where's he coming from?
Yep.
Thrawn. We're going to see Thrawn.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
There wasn't a lot of new order in this, in any of the footage. There was nothing of Hux. There was nothing of, Sith troopers or even new order which we're going to get. But yeah. I'm not saying they don't exist in there, but they didn't show any new order stuff in the sense that we know it. There was no new order in this footage.
I will say this: if this was the first footage we had seen from Rise of Skywalker minus the first teaser, I would be over the moon because, like you just said, like that is wow. We're talking core Star Wars here as far as the visuals go. So,
all right, next thing.
Not that the teaser was bad. I'm just saying it pulled in some stuff to think about. But that right there was a very cool view.
Yeah, no new order. Something to think about there.
No Hux.
C-3PO with red eyes. Was he stoned?
That 000.
Yeah. So the association
is C-3PO 000 just sleeper
cell
gold.
Now, again, you tell me what you think. Does he go evil C-3PO? Does he get hacked? Or is it battle mode C-3PO?
It could just be fed up C-3PO.
Just
I've
had it up to here.
I've had it up to here. One of these days.
To the moon.
He's just done. He's like, I've given you all the information. No one ever listens to me till it's too late. And he just red eyes it out. And
so
I have no idea.
Here's some headcanon of mine I'd like to share with you, Josh.
Okay, here we go. Let me have it.
Anakin built him, right? And
correct, the maker.
We've said before that the story of Star Wars is told through the eyes of the droid, right? That's the George Lucas quote. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, this would be going back and making up some stuff, but knowing that he was going to leave C-3PO with his mom, C-3PO is to help out, right? Help out around the house for his mom, and it would make sense that he would also like want to protect his mom too, as much as it did not actually help. But it would make sense that there is a mode that he could go into built by Anakin for that purpose to protect. Now, with Rey being able to converse, I don't know, I'm stretching it here. But
I just had the thought, Alexa, turn on she mode, Shmi mode or whatever.
Protect mom.
Alexa, protect mom.
Wait, do you have an Alexa in here? Mm-hmm. Is that going to do something?
No, we're good.
Okay.
I disable her for pods.
But with Rey maybe being able to commune with Ghost Luke and Ghost Anakin and Ghost everybody, Yoda, all of it's been passed down to her, holocrons, whatever she might have at her disposal. Maybe one of those little tidbits is, hey, C-3PO can do more than interpret.
We saw him with the bowcaster. That could be battle mode. He's in battle mode. That would be badass.
I actually don't think that's not as big of a stretch as maybe some of our.
I don't think it's a big stretch at all. It would be hilarious. Ideas. It's the comic relief when C-3PO goes into battle mode and starts, cursing and
when Hayden Christian says, "Well, C-3PO can do more than." You mean this whole time? You've had 2 pairs of gloves this whole time? Yeah. That would...
Okay, maybe a ridiculous pull there. We'll wait. I'm going to wait and see on C-3PO.
Beast mode C-3PO. Right. Okay. When Rey throws her saber, she's in the woods.
She throws Bunyan's the hell out of that place.
Yeah, but if you go slow motion...
There looks like a training...
It's a training ball. There's a training ball from the Millennium Falcon that lifts up.
She misses.
Well, it lifts up so it goes underneath it, and and then she pulls it back into her hand like it's on a string. But yeah, I thought that was cool. The training ball, like it's still around. The training ball's still there.
The training ball never left.
Yeah, she's And maybe Leia is the one that's kind of putting her through some things.
We saw Leia in a wooded area.
Yeah. So as far as where's Rey getting all this training from? Well, maybe Leia's taking her through a few things that she's picked up along the way.
It's on the Falcon. If we recall, the training ball's probably on the Falcon, right?
It's on the Falcon. Yeah, Finn found it, right? Like he was like, what's this?
Yeah, he threw it over. Yep.
Little moment there. I like that. They're pulling everything out. I mean, we get confirmation that interceptor is Kylo's.
Yeah.
Kylo's walking away from that interceptor
Ooh,
that we
and
got from
I know there's been controversy over his saber, which I always loved. I thought it was awesome. Yeah, it's not practical, the hilt and all that crap. I don't care.
Looks cool.
It looks awesome. And when he ignites that thing, it's like a flick. It's like, wow, that thing just instantly. That's not your lightsaber. It's just whop.
It's a pissed off lightsaber.
Yeah.
It matches his mood. Like he's a pissed off dude. So's his lightsaber. It matches him just like
very cool.
Just like the wizard has always been chosen by the wand, or the wand always chooses the wizard. I don't know how that line goes from Harry Potter.
I don't either.
But it's kind of the same thing.
I don't either.
Same thing.
Stay tuned for more Harry Potter on Holochronicles.
Crossover. All right, the duel between Rey and Kylo is on the Death Star.
It doesn't look like they're friends in that.
No, they don't look romantic. But it is
definitely a bit of a spat, we'll say, if you want to.
Lover's tiff.
Yeah.
It's definitely the Death Star.
It's not the Falcon.
No, it's not a wet.
It's not the freaking Falcon. Thank you.
Take it back.
Jeez. God,
let it go.
But there is very clearly to the left of the scene as it plays out a tower turret.
Yep.
From the Death Star. Yep. So it is definitely, they're on the Death Star in that ocean crashing duel, which, by the way, and again, it's been said, this is not original to me, although I did think it. I just wasn't the first to think it, or the only one to think it.
The first to post it.
It did seem to have some of the same beats, some of the same feel as Obi-Wan and Anakin on Mustafar, except for instead of lava crashing around everywhere and being dangerous, it was ocean. Instead of being burnt to death, if some of it splats on you, you just get wet.
Yeah, that's a big difference. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I'd rather battle in an
actually
ocean.
predict that that's early in the movie or mid-movie. That's not the final scene. It's a confrontation. Obviously,
to build suspense.
They're exploring because we see them walk up on the cliff in the trailer, the teaser, and view that scene. And then obviously Kylo shows up.
They get there eventually.
To me, it feels like a mid-story arc there. Just saying.
Yeah. And then finally, the last bit, the one that got the most buzz, Rey in a dark, cloaked. Yeah, she's in black. She's in black when she's hooded like Palpatine would be.
Or a Sith.
Or a Sith. And she cranks out a double-bladed saber that she gives a quick flick of the wrist and it pops into a Darth Maul-like dual hilted.
But also represents her, her bow staff type of situation there. But yeah.
I know. I thought about her bow staff from The Force Awakens.
So you pointed out, so if we want to dive into this.
Just for a minute.
You pointed out on Twitter that her features look very angular, dark, which obviously little makeup can make that happen. Little Sigourney Weaver-esque.
From Ghostbusters,
Ghostbusters, when the gatekeeper, she gets a little possessed.
She gets possessed, and then there's that physical change. All of a sudden, her hair is just all done up, and she's got makeup like it's crazy, and she looks very physically different than she would had she not been possessed, how she did from regular day-to-day Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters. So that was the connection that I made. It's like she looks like done up, like there's a physical difference in her features, like very angular. And I thought it was more, I could be wrong, but I thought it was more than just, the fact that it was a dark room and there was two red lightsabers in front of her face. Like, okay, it could have just been a lighting thing. But to me, it looked like intentional. They wanted her to look physically different.
Right.
Now we know that turning to the dark side changes you physically. It changed Vader physically because he got burnt.
Right.
It changed Palpatine physically because
he got wrinkly.
He like he'd been in water too long.
Yeah. He pruned up.
No, but there is a physical change, and this is in any movie. If they get possessed, there's a physical change. You ever watch The Exorcist, Josh?
I wasn't allowed.
I wasn't either. I've only seen the first 15 minutes of that movie like 6 times, but I can't get past it. Because once that little girl changes, like, I'm done.
Right.
And there's a physical change. When you turn to evil, and this is true in real life, you start making poor decisions, you get into drugs, there's a physical change that comes over your countenance. Like, you don't look like you used to.
My beard got pointy one time for a week, and I don't know. I was burning ants with a magnifying glass. I'm just saying, until I shaved it.
Okay. We all have our ups and downs, I guess. Glad you made it through.
I'm good.
But yeah, first of all, let me start by saying this, Josh. I don't think Rhaego's evil.
What do you think that is? You think that we're going Dagobah flashback? We're going... I mean, it's not like...
That seems to make the most sense.
That would be weird of Abrams to copy something. It'd be weird.
What? The throwback?
Yeah. I can't believe he'd do like a Starkiller base and then do that. But it is part of the Force. We know it's part of the Force.
Right. So in Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Luke goes down to the cave. You take what you have with you in there or whatever.
He took his blaster.
He confronts Vader, who he sees himself in. That's his fear, that he becomes Vader. He's not strong enough to battle him, all those connections. And so this seems to be the easiest thing, I think, for people to jump to is that, okay, this is a similar idea where, think if they were going to redo the Empire Strikes Back trailer, I think a very controversial scene to flash in there would be to Luke's face in the Darth Vader helmet, just that image, just boom. And everybody's like, what? Wait a minute, what? Right. So this feels like that
confused
to me.
Me as a kid.
But that feels like that's what this could be here. She's afraid, it's similar. Like she could be confronting the evil that she potentially sees in herself,
Now let's say this. Let's say that's the easy answer.
That's an easy answer.
What if it's not? What else are we looking at?
So the pushback against that is, well, for it to not be, that looks like a very deliberate weapon. It's not just a lightsaber that she, that looks like a weapon intended for something or someone specifically. Maybe it's a relic, right? Maybe it was for somebody else. Maybe, I don't know. Connect your own dots.
Speculation's huge here.
So,
and Abrams, because now I believe that Abrams was in the cutting room for this footage. I don't know what to call it. You corrected me on trailer, so
teaser. We'll call it a teaser.
He's just there and he's like, yeah, and post. Mm-hmm. Let the internet enjoy. And then he went and pet his robot.
So this, I think...
Sorry, JJ.
This makes the idea that Rey's a clone maybe a little stronger.
Well, that's where I'm going. But she is in like this very metallic room, which looks cavey. It looks like a place where you go and...
like it's inside the Death Star.
Right. So if you were to confront fears, then that might be the place where you do it.
You confront your darkness in darkness.
If she is some sort of clone, which we know Palpatine obviously has.
That would make her. She comes from.
Clone of
she's
what,
no one.
though?
I know. Now you're getting into the details.
Clone?
Now you're getting into the details.
So now so Palpatine. I can't even say it. Palpatine. I mean, I was even pulling in my head, and this is really dumb. And you guys, you're getting the inside track. But like, is she a descendant of Vader at that point? But then so is Luke and Leia, so that's not a big deal. But like, what is she? What is she a clone of?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that if you're of the belief that Rey is a clone, you walked out of seeing this footage thinking that strengthens your.
Sure, because now we're seeing more,
your opinion, right? It doesn't take it off the board.
What about the obvious?
That she goes bad.
That she's bad.
That she goes bad. Here's why. There's 2 reasons why I don't think that's the case. The first is, let's say this ends up being even a 3-hour movie, right? Let's say
we're hearing 3 hours.
It goes full end game,
much like this pod. I'm just kidding.
And it goes 3 hours long. Okay. Well, we have to come up with a way or a reason for her to go to the dark side. And then I don't think they would just leave her there, because this is Disney. She's the role model. She is the light side of the Force that's left.
Right. The object would obviously to pull Kylo back, right? That's what we're expecting, right?
So yeah, she turned to the dark side for him.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's a solid message you want to be telling kids. Okay.
Get naughty.
Yeah.
Wear more makeup. Make your features angular.
So here's again what I thought about the movie Grease. At the very end, Sandy, she goes full.
Really, we're doing ladies and gentlemen.
No.
This is a Star Wars Grease connection. Get ready.
It is. It's a Star Wars Grease connection. If you think that Rey goes dark side for Kylo, okay, all right. Let's see. That leaves me as a dad a bad taste in my mouth. Honey. But so Sandy, she, at the very end of the movie, she presents herself as this kind of a wholesome character, and who's trying to get Danny to come, it's okay on the good side. It's okay to get good grades. It's okay to, wear my ring around your neck, that kind of thing, and there's some innocence in it, and there's some not so innocent, but she's pushing back against that. But at the end, she totally, they end up doing, they both cross over. It's a pina colada song. They each are the ones that they're trying to find, and they're willing to do anything for it, except they both compromised everything that they believed to do that just for the sake of summer loving.
And you're still talking Grease here.
Yeah. So Rey, no, they're not going to do that with
fantastic.
Rey. They're not going to do that with Rey.
I got to tell you, this could be a very unique theory. No one's ever thought of.
I don't think they're going to do that with Rey. I don't think they're going to have her completely compromise everything she started out standing for.
No, I don't either. And that's why I feel like...
And I don't think they can develop that, even if the movie's 3 hours long, in a way that's going to be...
It's a bait and switch. It's a bait and switch. That's why it's the last scene. It's the scene we're talking about the most. And like I said, Abrams is laughing all the way to his giant bed.
Speaking of bait and switch, we get another Palpatine line.
Yeah, we do.
The journey, what is it? Your journey nears its end. Here's what I think about that. I still don't think Palpatine is actually in this movie.
No, he's a recording. He's a wraith.
I said that at the beginning. I'm sticking with that. I'm not dissuaded.
I think I said that.
That line, your journey nears its end, is for us.
Your journey.
It's for me, Josh. It's for you, Josh. It's for Twitter.
We've been trolled by Palpatine, so we know it's for us.
That line is not for the characters. Although, yes, it is for the characters. This journey is nearing its end. But that line is just as much for you and me as it is for anybody in the story. This journey is nearing its end.
Thanks, Ian.
Palpatine is not in this movie.
He's in this movie in a way.
Right. In a way.
He's going to have some vocals. We're going to get all his stuff. We're fine. We'll get some palp, but it will probably be in the form of a message.
Yeah.
Or, holovid or a wraith, if you don't know about wraiths.
We'll talk. I think we'll hit on wraiths.
Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. This has been a D23 breakdown by the Holochronicles. Full of...
I'm sweaty.
Me too. Full of all kinds of crazed
just think of this.
And
in this episode, we connected Star Wars to Jon Bon Jovi. We connected Star Wars...
John
Travolta and Olivia Newton John. And
okay, all right, listeners, we need all your best connections from Grease. Show the the parallels here between Grease and Star Wars. I'm ready, and I'm waiting for the best one. We're gonna vote on it, and we'll announce the winner of the 3 people that do this on our next pod.
Stranded in hyperspace. Brandon.
Oh, no. It's time to end. Hey,
I can sing every song off that.
Well, thank you. And we have a lot more to discuss on this, obviously. And it'll probably happen on Twitter. So thank you for your listen, for joining us.
4 more months.
4 more months.
4 more months.
Man, it's getting close. Less than 4.
Less than 4.
Less than 4. So less than 3 if we're, less than 3 if we're talking Mandalorian, which we are talking Mandalorian.
You know what I'm talking about?
So thanks for joining us. Make sure to follow us at Holochronicles on Twitter.
Rate and review.
Like and subscribe to this pod wherever you may find it. And you can find us on, if you like to listen on YouTube, some people do, we're there. And Instagram if you like to look at pictures. But we love you guys, and show us your collections and all that jazz. And this has been the Holochronicles. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Mace lives.
This party's over.
What you say, Mace?
Take a seat. Young Scott.
Oh, snap.
For your own good, stay out of this thing.
Oh, yeah, Mace. Mace talking big.
If what you told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
Mace, trust us.
So, oh man, I just got a big cramp in my eye.
I have a lot of post editing to do here.
No, you
Just
can
get
leave that
ready.
in.
No,
Oh
just
my
get ready.
gosh.
When you're ready, let me know.
Oh my god.
Don't worry. At the 10-minute mark, I gotta cut a bunch of crap out.
Oh my gosh, that hurt so bad. And then it came out of nowhere. I need to drink more water. This White Claw's not doing it. All right.
Don't see. I have to cut that out.
Are we gonna lose followers?
You're drinking White Claw.
That's my first one, man. I feel pretty good up until that
Up
moment.
until that moment.
Sorry, White Claw. No.
All right. Make sure you reset yourself, and I'll cut this out.
Maybe
Or maybe not.
This will
Hey,
go- this will
if
go on
I
the
didn't cut
gag
this
reel.
out, you're welcome. Welcome to the behind the scenes.
This is going on the
Holochronicles
gag reel.
White Claw.
White Claw edition. Okay. Okay. Back together here.